What can you do if you're not ready to take the plunge in relation to liquidation? What are the other things that you can do? Well, first of all, I would say don't be scared to speak to someone like myself, a licensed insolvency practitioner. We can help you and we can put strategies in place. Now, I understand that when you're Googling it and you see, words like liquidation, administration and all those things, it can be a bit scary. But always speak to someone like myself. You don't have to go ahead. There's no obligation. It just gives you the information and also the peace of mind afterwards. And you might have a strategy in place. So I would always recommend you do speak to someone. But if you're not ready yet, what I would recommend is that you make sure that you're aware of the company's position at all times. So you don't want to trade whilst insolvent, or also known as wrongful trading. So you want to make sure that you protect the company, which in turn protects you. So protect the company's assets and also protect the creditors as well. So you just need to be very careful and very mindful of the company's financial position. So make sure that you are aware of the position, such as making sure you know what the assets are, so you know what the projections are for the company, so future work, and also look at who's owed money and when is that due and what security they have. So it might be worth speaking to the bookkeeper or the accountant or someone like myself, but just make sure that you are aware of the company's financial position, that you're closely monitoring it. You don't want the wheels to fall off and you have no idea what's happening, and you can get yourself in trouble and you can become personally liable for the debts and for other things as well. So you just need to be really careful of that. So my first advice is to obviously be mindful of the company's financial position. The other is to speak to creditors. So it can infuriate creditors and make them worried when there's an outstanding invoice and it's not been paid. When, say, previously you were a regular payer. They will pick up on this and they'll become unsettled and worried. So if you speak to them, that might alleviate the concerns they have, and you can come to a negotiation, a settlement, a repayment plan, or just providing them with the information and saying that, I'm doing these things and you will get your payment at this time. If there's radio silence from you, as I said, they will become worried and they may take action against the company. That could be a winding up petition and forcing the company into compulsory liquidation. So you need to keep an open dialogue with your creditors and get their feedback. It may be that creditors are willing to work with you because that's the best result for them and able to get their money and just give you that breathing space. But I would speak to the creditors. Putting your head in the sand, as easy as it is, and it's tempting, I know, not always the best option for the company. And then I think you need to also look at sort of trying to resolve the situation. Is it a temporary cash flow forecast that will fix itself? Usually not. Is it because you're not collecting the book debts in enough? Do you have lots of outstanding invoices and you haven't got the time to chase them in? Well, maybe that needs to be a priority. Do you have too many staff? Has turnover decreased but you kept the same number of staff, but you like them, you're loyal to them and you don't want to let them go? But maybe that's a decision you need to make. You have to remember, as a director, you have to sort of act with a business mind rather than on emotional side. I know it's easier to say, but that might help you come to a decision. If you write it down and you put the sensible answer on paper, you then know what you have to do. And this is why I'm also a fan of talking to insolvency practitioners, because they also sort of give you the advice that that you should be doing, but once a third party tells you, it's like, yeah, actually I should be doing that and I'm going to go away and do it, and it will help the company in the long term. I would avoid using some of these unregulated schemes that seem to be offered. Essentially, if they're too good to be true, usually are. So just be careful of those because they can get you into a lot of trouble. I have had people call me and say, look, my company's in trouble and someone's offered me X amount, thousands of pounds to take on my failing business, should I do it? And I've looked into it for them and then give them my advice. So you just have to be careful, because that could really, really sting you later down the line. And it's typical that when you're running a business, everything's going well, you do everything fine, and it's that last hurdle, I don't want you to trip, fall over, and then you have a mountain of problems to yourself, because during a company's financial difficulties, that's when the director's conduct is reviewed to make sure that you did everything correctly for the creditors. So I just want to make sure that you do those things. And then finally, what I would say is take advice. You might not be ready to take the plunge with liquidation, and that's absolutely fine, but speak to an insolvency practitioner. Someone like myself, we can help you, we can put strategies in place, we can listen to your concerns, and it might be, yes, the company does have to go into liquidation, but once you've understood what liquidation is and what the possible ramifications are, it's not so daunting, and you understand. And a creditor's voluntary liquidation, if you press the button today, it'd be in liquidation by the end of the month. So it's a relatively quick process, and then after that month, all that headache and all the stress has gone, and you've gone on to different ventures. So you have to also see the positives of these processes. So that's my advice if you're not ready, but my overall message is just speak to someone. We're here to help. Okay, thank you.